What's up, everybody? So we're out in the shop with another Shop Talk Tuesday, and in this episode we're going to focus on getting the bevels finished on the 5160 chopper. So to this point, you know, we got everything flat, we got it forged flat, we went ahead, ground out our profile, got our bevels put in, got it heat treated. Now we need to get the bevels cleaned up so that we can get ready to start doing the whole handle scale section of this. Now, for the bevel part of this, getting them cleaned up and finished, I'm going to show y'all one of the easiest ways to actually get a good finish on your bevels without having to do the whole hand sanding thing. Now, y'all have seen me hand sand swords and all kinds of different things. You know it's not my favorite process in the whole knife making realm, but it is what it is. I'm not a big fan of it. There are some people that love the hand sanding process. Those people are psycho. If you like the hand sanding process, it's okay. I know I just called you psycho. Sticking with it. So, I'm not a big fan of it, so I'm going to show y'all how to do this with 3 belts. We're going to use a 120 grit belt, a 320 grit belt, and a medium Scotch-Brite belt. That's all we're going to utilize to be able to get the finish that we're going to end up with on this blade. Is it going to look cool? Yes. I think so. We'll find out. I'm not from the future. It still looks like this. So we'll see how it goes. Let's go ahead, let's jump into this, and let's get this thing knocked out. So one of the things to think about whenever you get to this point is you've already done most of the work. The bevels are pretty much finished at this point, so you don't have to take a bunch of material off here. That's why the 120 grit is perfectly fine. Now on a few of them, if I left it extra thick, I'll switch to the 36 grit belt and just do a little bit on that and then switch up to the 120. But on this one, I brought it about 90% of the way, and I'm just going to do the extra 10% with the 120, 320, and the Scotch-Brite like I was saying earlier. But for this, we don't have to just try and hog off a bunch of material. So as I'm coming across the belt, I'm only putting a little bit of pressure here. I'm not trying to take off a bunch of material. I'm just trying to get rid of any grind lines that were left from the heavier grits, just so that we can get to the next belt progression. Now, we're just going to be doing light pressure, keeping consistent with our hand movements as we're coming across and doing this. The whole point behind not trying to push real tight is you don't want the belt to catch in a weird spot and give you a little ripple or a little wave in here, because then you'll be trying to chase that out and put in more work. So you're just letting the belt do its job. You're putting light pressure on here, dragging across, letting the belt grit do its actual job to get rid of any imperfections and make sure everything is nice and consistent. And then that way you can move up to the next belt and you're not, again, like I said, having to chase anything. So we're going to start with that. We're going to get this cleaned up and then move on from there. So now that we've went through both sides with the 120 grit and got everything where we wanted it to be and smoothed out, we're going to go ahead and go one step further with the 320 grit belt and get rid of even more of the grind lines before we go ahead and start working on the Scotch-Brite belt. So now what this belt's going to start showing you is some of the areas where the other belts might have been hiding a little bit of a low spot or something like that. So we've got a little bit of this area here that we're going to have to focus on. All the way up to there is perfectly fine, but we're going to have to focus on this a little bit and just make sure that we're extra cautious in this area and get all of this to be uniform. If you have a disc sander, it would actually eliminate the need to focus on this, because those disc sanders can actually get a lot of this stuff smooth just by working with them. But we're going to go ahead and keep working on the 320, get everything nice and uniform, and then jump to the Scotch-Brite belt. So we're just using a salt and vinegar solution here and a little cotton square for cleaning guns on the end of our negative terminal. Then we've got our positive terminal attached to the actual knife. And this is just our car charger setup that I ended up dismantling and putting inside of a ammo can in order to make it easier to store and to make it not look like a car charger. So we're just going to go through here about 1.5 seconds per time that we end up touching onto the knife, and we should get a nice deep dark etch. We're going to do this for about 30-45 seconds. So that's what it looks like pre Scotch-Brite belt right there. I'd say that worked out pretty well. So now we need to get the rest of this stuff cleaned up. We're going to work on the Scotch-Brite belt for that. Some of y'all would call it a resurfacing belt, but same difference. That's what we're going to work on now. So now what we have here is another Scotch-Brite belt that we actually pack with compound. And we're going to use it to put the last little bit of finish on our bevels. So we're going to turn it on, pack it, go over the bevels. Well guys, let's go ahead and wrap this one up right here. What do y'all think about that? Now it's not exactly a mirror polish, it's not exactly a satin polish, it's kind of in between the two. We've got an awesome contrast between that textured ricasso and flat area and then the bevels, real defined line right there. But I want to know, Is this a process that y'all do currently? Is this a process that you're going to try out? I mean, this, again, was a 120 grit, a 320 grit, and then a resurfacing belt or a Scotch-Brite belt. Now, of course, one step further than that, I used one of my Scotch-Brite belts with compound to finish the finish on this. Now, I want to know, have y'all ever taken one of your resurfacing or Scotch-Brite belts and packed it with compound to see what it does? You know, this was an experimental thing that I did a little while back on a few of the knives that I put out, and it worked out amazingly. Now, let me tell you the benefits of that particular belt and this finish. So because I didn't go through and spend 4, 5, 6 hours hand sanding this to get to a mirror finish, if I scratch this, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's a chopper. It's meant to be used and abused, so it's going to get scratched. If I do end up scratching this, the only thing I have to do is come back in here, use that belt that has the compound packed into it, do about 4 or 5 passes of the blade on that, and that scratch is going to be gone. You won't be able to see it anymore. That is the benefit of this particular finish. It's a nice contrasting finish, looks absolutely awesome, but it's easily maintainable. So that's why I do this. Is this something y'all going to try out in the future? If it is, let me know in the comments section. Guys, that's pretty much the end of this one. In the next episode, we are going to be making the handle scales for this particular knife. And then the episode after that, we're going to put the scales on, sharpen it, and chop some stuff with it. So y'all got a lot to look forward to. Guys, thank y'all for coming by. If y'all would, give this video a thumbs up, share this video or one of my other videos. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Y'all have an amazing day. Y'all stay safe out there. Check it out. That looks awesome. I'll catch y'all next time.